Hey everyone, this is Miko with the Permit Empire, and I want to thank you so much for tuning into this video. I want to thank those of you who have recently liked, commented, shared, or even subscribed to my channel, but I want to ask that if you have not done any of those things so far, that you go ahead and feel free to do so today. All right, so in today's video, we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about the courier service. Now, when I speak about permit running, I am usually talking about it from the simplest form, from its basic form, and that is the courier service. Now, sure, there's tons of things to learn when it comes to permit running, permit preparation, lien filings, notice of commencement filings, just all type of different services that you can add to this. But when I am discussing it, I'm usually discussing it from that basic level, and that is the courier service. So that's what I want to talk about a little bit today, is your courier service. Now, in recent years, the courier service has changed just a little bit. So I'm going to start off talking about what it is typically you think of when you think of a courier service. And that is the person who is, or the person of the company who is picking up documents from the clients and having those documents submitted in person to the building department. Now, once those documents have been processed by the building department, you are then picking them up from the building department and returning them back to the client that contracted you out to do that service. That is typically the courier service. And in that service, it usually does not consist of you filling out documents or you preparing documents for that permit. Is usually you picking this up from one place, which is your client, and taking it over to the building department for processing and approval. That's typically what it is that I'm speaking of when I'm talking about a courier service. Now, again, let's go back to this. Over the last few years, things have changed a little bit. Now, a lot of the building departments are processing permits online. So there's no need to come in person and have those documents submitted in person. So does that mean you can no longer be a courier? No, not at all. What it means is now there is just a different vehicle you'll be using to get it to the building department. So instead of picking up from your client and then driving over to the building department and having those documents submitted in person, now you may, if you still pick it up from your client, you may be picking it up from your client, taking it back to your location and uploading it online into the building department's portal. Now, some building departments have a portal, which is just a system where they allow for the documents needed for this permit to be uploaded. And in some cases, they're allowing for you to email over those documents for approval. So it's either or. Now, yes, some building departments are still allowing you to come in person, or they may have a drop box for that service. But in most cases now, you are submitting documents online. You are still acting as a courier because you are getting those documents from one place to the next place, even though you may not physically be driving from one place to the next, but you're getting it from one place to the next place for submission. Now let's go a step further inside of that, right? We're going to talk about this courier service. Let's take it a step further. Now, just a second ago, I mentioned that you may be going over to your client and picking up those documents and then uploading them into your computer so that you can upload it into the portal, or you may be emailing it over. That is also what could be happening. Now, also, your client could be sending you over via email or via Dropbox. They could be sending you over documents so that you can take those documents and submit them to the building department. Now, in a lot of cases, also people ask, well, why? If they're going to send it to me, why won't they just upload it to the building department themselves? Because they don't want to, or they don't have time to, or they don't understand the portal. They don't understand the system. There's a lot of different reasons each of those contractors may not want to do it themselves. They may feel intimidated even by the process because there's certain questions that the portal is asking or needing of you because the building department needs these things answered. They may feel a little intimidated, or they may feel like, I just don't have the time. At this point, none of my clients are even questioning it. They don't question it. They just say, hey, I'm sending this over to you. Can you have it submitted? So, of course, we could always say, well, they could just do it themselves, but they're not just doing it themselves. And in fact, inside of their projects, when they're pricing out their projects, they're actually pricing it out to include that someone is handling this portion of this job. They don't want that portion. As many things as they can assign to someone else, delegate to someone else, that is what they'll be doing. So in a lot of cases, these projects are very large, and it takes the contractors time to go out there and oversee things, or even do the installation or do the services themselves. So if they can take their hands off one less thing and have someone on the team that they can trust to take care of that portion, then they'll do so. So again, you may not actually have to physically visit their office, pick up those documents, then take it back to your location and have them uploaded. You may just as simply have them email it over to you, and then you upload from there. So you've never even gone to their office at that point. I have some clients who will have a large project, and what they'll do is they'll have their engineer email me over the documents that I'm going to need for this permit. And then I'll submit those documents that are emailed over to me by the building department. So that is the courier service in a nutshell. Again, that is without you filling out documents or putting together documents for the client to sign. You may not have to do any of those things. The very basic level of the permit running service is the courier service, which just entails you getting those documents from one place to the next for approval. And that is the courier service in a nutshell. So if you have any other questions, you have any comments about this, please feel free to leave those questions and comments down below in the chat. And I look forward to chit-chatting with you later.